Peace. It's Brother Mike X Speaks. We here again with Brother Pastor Davis. And we want to speak about the power of words and the power of our voices. This is an old saying. Small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, but great minds discuss ideas. In my time on this earth, in my time walking around day to day, in my time being on the social networks, in my time just being around other people, it seems like the majority of us, we relegate ourselves to existing on that small-minded level, discussing people. Not from a positive point of view, but too many times from a slanderous point of view, a poison point of view, where we talk about each other, and we talk about each other and judge each other based upon the most trivial things. This person's fashion, or their sense of fashion is off, or they don't have the high-priced sneakers, or he's sleeping with her behind their back, and all of these types of discussions that we have, it relegates us to being small-minded, and, my thing is we can never, ever hope to get into the driver's seat as far as creating change and empowerment in our neighborhoods if the majority of us stick and operate on that small-minded level where, we don't speak of more positive things. Brother?
A lot of that has to do with the fact that who is shaping ideas, and unfortunately, we don't have that anymore. It used to be a time where the church was a big part of shaping the community dialogue. The black church was the CNN, so to speak, the place of information. Today you have a black church full of caricatures, or characters, let's say, where everything is cliche, nothing of substance. So when you don't have the people who are supposed to shape ideas actually shaping minds, what happens is people become very trivial. Become very, into the gossip, into the tabloids, into what's popular, because everybody's looking for escape. People generally don't want to deal with the real issues of life because it's hard, it's heavy. But unless we have the thinkers shaping the dialogue, shaping the mind, people will always choose to escape. So you need people to challenge the greater population, challenge them to think, challenge them to move from the darkness into the light, and start to be part of the dialogue. And that's what we're doing, challenging you guys out there in the world of social media, be part of this dialogue, because there's just too much going on, and we need to begin to take control of our destiny.
Most definitely, most definitely. This construct that I discussed, small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, great minds discuss ideas. It's almost like a pyramid, where you have the majority on that small-minded level, and then you go up one class or one level, and then you have the average minds. The average minds are, they choose to use their dialogue in a more serious way than those who, remain on that small-minded level. But the average minds, a lot of times, don't discuss things that directly relate to them personally, or relate to the neighborhoods that they belong to. A lot of times they're discussing things about, what's happening overseas. They're discussing, well, Obama, he's not representing us properly, or, they're discussing something that's happening on the other side of the country, things a lot of times that, at least they're discussing something, and it's definitely more positive than bashing your neighbor and talking about their lack of clothing and fashion sense. It's better than that, but it's not as powerful as it could be and should be if it's not directly connected to them assuming a direct role for themselves and actually trying to make something better, you know. So while it's better, it's not good enough. You understand what I'm saying? And you have any?
Well, there was a time in the civil rights era, the 60s, where leaders would be out there active, talking, shaping ideas. When was the last time you seen somebody on 125th Street with any philosophical talk, bringing us to another level, bringing the issues to the people, challenging the people? You can walk up all around 125th Street, you won't find that. You certainly won't find it even where we live in the Bronx. You're not going to find that. So what's missing is the energy that we're bringing, dialoguing, and hopefully through this medium we can do that. But those who are leaders, the greater responsibility is on them. I'm not saying that the general population doesn't have responsibility. It's just that leaders are leaders for a reason. And we have to be out there doing that. And then people on a whole, if we can get them to think on a higher level and be reflective, contemplative, they'll look at their situation and say, we have power to change it. But those who are the thinkers have to shape the thoughts.
Well, this is the thing. I want to talk about the last level, in this pyramid. We talked about the small-minded conversations. We talked about the average minds and their conversations. Now I want to talk about that last level, the great minds. And I want to challenge you, just like I'm challenging myself, to rise to that great mind level. I don't think that we should wait around for the traditional leadership that was responsible in the past to become responsible again. We shouldn't wait upon the college-educated professors to step out from their college dorms and the college campuses to come into the neighborhoods and give us direction. We can't wait for that. The pastors and the reverends, present company excluded, of course. We can't wait for the churches to remember the role that they played in our past, to come out from behind their pulpits, to come back out into the neighborhoods and the streets to lead our people. We can't wait for that. We have to take it upon ourselves to assume leadership. I say that with the greatest humility that I can muster. This is not about us putting on airs and thinking too much of ourselves, but it's also not about us looking down on ourselves and feeling like we're hopeless and helpless either. We should aspire to be those great minds. We should pass up the small-minded discussions as much as possible. We should strive to rise above the average mind discussions, talking about what other communities have done to help themselves, and take it to a level where we think on a great-minded level, where we seek to create solutions that we could administer in our own communities, in our own relationships, to make our situation better on this earth. And what does that mean? You have to study. You have to learn. One of the things that I'm a student. People, when you're a black man and you're speaking about issues, the first thing they think, are you a Muslim? Are you this? Are you that? They see you reading a book that's not a ghetto love romance novel. Somebody see me reading about Dr. King. I'm reading about Dr. King's best friend, Ralph Abernathy, an autobiography that he wrote. And he was Dr. King's best friend. They see me reading a book like that. What are you doing? You reading that for school? No, I'm not reading that for school. I'm reading that for me. I'm reading that on behalf of myself. I'm reading that on behalf of my neighborhood and on behalf of my people, because I'm seeking to educate myself to hopefully find a way to start and maintain a much needed dialogue. Am I bragging about that? No, but I am gonna take responsibility for myself to try to be part of that change, and to be a leader in my own way, and not just be a follower, not just sit around and wait for somebody to save me, brother.
Well, all the movements, all the leaders have always come from grassroots. It's never been the highly educated or the people who are sitting at the top. All movements in our community have always been at the grassroots level. There's leaders within our own blocks that desire to be a leader, but they have to be unleashed. And by doing what we're doing, we're unleashing you to use the venues as YouTube and your voice and your social networking to get beyond small-minded thinking and to a higher level of thinking, because the world needs leaders, it needs change, it needs more, and it can't do it if you're not participating.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So I just say, stick with us. We're gonna, we're gonna add on to this conversation, and we need you to take part in it, and we need you to see yourself as part of the solution. Once again, I say, it's not about a title. It's not about a fancy piece of paper. It's about you having a heart, a love, a concern, for yourself, for our people. Our people, going back into the past, the people who sacrificed and struggled to help us to get to this point in time. It's about us doing our part so that our children won't have to do the job and be faced with the problems that we refused to confront. In signing off, I just want to say, I work with young people professionally. I've been working with young people for 20 years. I've worked in the community centers, midnight basketball. I've done GED preparation. I've worked in the group homes, non-secure detention. And there's a lot of times when it comes to speaking about the plight and the struggles of our young people, nobody could speak with greater authority a lot of times better than the ones who work directly with them every day. And one of the things that I tell them that is closely associated to what we were talking about with the small-minded discussions, the average mind discussions, and the need for great minds, is I tell them all the time that you can be three things in this world. You could be positive, you could be neutral, and you could be negative. Neutral, being neutral, having nothing to say, not being positive or being negative. At least you're not causing any damage. But by the same token, you may be wasting your potential, your personal potential to make things better by just being neutral. If you somehow can't muster the strength and the courage to take a stand, to be positive, in situations that need to be dealt with, all right, as long as you're not negative, okay, cool. But wouldn't it be that much greater if each one of us in our own way just made more effort to be positive, not only in our personal lives, but in the interactions that we had with each other, and used our own personal life force to try to challenge other people to use their own personal life force. This is what this whole discussion is about tonight. This is what this YouTube channel is about. And, I'm asking you to add on to this discussion. So, stick with us. And,
peace out, Joe.